Hello, and welcome to the channel. My name is Armageddon. Today we're going to be featuring a Brawl deck with Syr Alin, the Lion's Claw, as our commander, as part of our series of Brawl videos featuring commanders from Throne of Eldraine. Syr Alin is one of a cycle of legendary knights, one in each color, each at uncommon and costing 5 mana. All of the knights in this cycle were strong in the limited format, but in my experience, are not commonly played as commanders in Brawl. Syr Alin has a triggered ability saying, whenever Syr Alin attacks, other creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So Syr Alin fits into an aggressive creature-based strategy. Although he probably works best in a deck trying to go wide to maximize his ability, with this deck, we're going more with Knight synergies. I've split the deck into categories, so let's look at each one. First, we have our ramp artifacts. Pearl Medallion from Modern Horizons 3 gives all our white spells a 1 mana discount. Heraldic Banner ramps us and buffs all our white creatures. Herald's Horn makes our knights cheaper to cast and can provide card advantage. Patchwork Banner from the new set Bloomburrow ramps us and acts as an anthem for knights, while Urza's Incubator gives our knights a massive discount. The bulk of our creatures are knights. We're playing so many of them that I had to separate them into 3 piles. At 1 mana, Dauntless Bodyguard can also protect a key creature, while Venerable Knight gives a +1/+1 counter to another knight when it dies. At 2 mana, Benalish Honor Guard gets a buff if we control a legendary creature, and Boroskir Tollkeeper provides some hand disruption. We don't have any life gain synergy for Knight of Dawn's Light, but as it has First Strike, it is great with all our Anthem effects. The same goes for Knight of Grace, which also hoses black decks. Swordsworn Cavalier gets First Strike when we play Knights, while Westfold Rider can be sacrificed to destroy an artifact or enchantment. Worthy Knight helps us go wide when we cast Knight spells, and Youthful Knight is good with all of our anthems. At 3 mana, Acclaimed Contender helps us find more Knights, while Argivian Cavalier creates a 1/1 token. Kithkin Billy Rider has double strike, so it's great with our anthems. Nadar Selfless Paladin provides incremental advantage as it ventures into the dungeon, and buffs our other creatures if we complete a dungeon. Shrike Force, a knight from the new set Bloomburrow, can attack while staying back on defense, while Valiant Bat Rider is an evasive threat that acts like Esper Sentinel. Zhalfirin Lancer gets buffed whenever we play other knights, while Adeline Resplendent Cathar helps us go wide. Guardian of Faith can protect our entire board from sweepers, while Werefox Bodyguard can be flashed in and act as removal. Finally, Benalish Marshal pumps all our other creatures, so you could also put it in the Anthem category. At 4 mana, Coalition Sky Knight can boost its power if we tap another creature, while Gallant Cavalry and Knight of the New Coalition each create 2 knights. Kinsbale Cavalier gives all our knights double strike, while Valiant Knight buffs all our other knights and has an activated ability to give all our knights double strike. Champions of Tyr creates a copy of itself in our hand when it attacks, and when it enters, gives the next creature we play a buff. Borin Warleader, a limited bomb in the new set Bloomburrow, can enter with a 1/1 token copy of itself, and whenever we attack, either buffs all attacking creatures or makes a 1/1 rabbit creature token that's tapped and attacking. At 5 mana, if we convoke Knight Errant of Eos, it can help us find more creatures, while Cavalier of Dawn is removal, and when it dies, can return an artifact or enchantment from our graveyard to the battlefield. Next, we have the Knight payoffs. Metallic Mimic buffs our other knights, while Garrison Griffin gives the knight flying when it attacks. History of Benalia creates 2 knight tokens on the first 2 chapters, and on the 3rd chapter buffs all our knights. Icon of Ancestry is an anthem for our knights and can help us find more knights. Vanquisher's Banner is also an anthem for knights, and draws cards when we cast knight spells. The Circle of Loyalty gets cheaper to cast the more knights we control, creates knight tokens when we cast legendary spells, and is yet another anthem. It is also a mana sink, allowing us to create more knight tokens. We've already seen 9 cards that act as anthem effects, but there's a whole category dedicated to them too. Paladin class makes it harder for our opponents to cast spells on our turn, buffs all our creatures, and on the 3rd level can make one of our creatures a lethal threat. Invasion of Gobekhan provides some hand disruption, and when transformed into the Light Shield array gives +1/+1 counters to all of our creatures that attacked, and can be sacrificed to give the team hexproof and indestructible. Rally the Ranks is an anthem for our knights, while Flowering of the White Tree is an anthem that makes our legendary creatures even more powerful and harder to interact with. Invasion of Belenon creates a knight token when it enters and turns into an anthem if transformed. Wedding Announcement can make either 1/1 human tokens or draw cards, and turns into another anthem. In the Trenches also acts as removal in the late game. Gandalf White Rider is a recursive threat that buffs our creatures when we cast spells and gives us card selection. Virtue of Loyalty has an adventure that creates a 2/2 knight creature token, and then gives +1/+1 counters to the team and untaps them on our end step. Our next category are effects that protect our creatures. Giver of Runes gives protection from any color or from colorless spells or abilities. Selfless Savior can be sacrificed to give another creature indestructible. Skrell Defector Might can protect a creature from removal or enable an attack. Dawn's Truce, a new card from Bloomburrow, can give the team hexproof and indestructible. Boromir, Warden of the Tower, can be sacrificed to give the team indestructible. Finally, Blessed Hippogriff has an adventure that gives a creature indestructible, and also gives another creature flying when it attacks. Finally, we have a few miscellaneous spells. There's Swords to Plowshares, one of the best removal spells ever printed. Ambitious Farmhand finds us a Plains, and if we enable Coven, can be transformed into a knight with lifelink, while Restoration of Iganjo searches up a Plains and eventually turns into a creature that can help us go wide. Since we're playing a monocolored deck, our mana base is quite budget-friendly, consisting mostly of basic Plains. We have Cave of the Frost Dragon and Mutavault as creature lands, and Mutavault is also a knight for our synergies. Castle Ardenvale can create 1/1 tokens, while Minas Tirith draws us cards if we attack with at least 2 creatures. Iganjo, Seat of the Empire, can also act as removal. Gate of the Citadel can find us more action if we don't have anything else to do. Fabled Passage and Prismatic Vista thin out the deck by searching up a basic Plains. And finally, Cavern of Souls can make it so that our night spells can't be countered. So that's our Syr Alin deck. Now it's time to take it into the queue and play some games. Alright. Massacre Girl, known Killer, gives all of the opponents creatures wither, which means that they deal damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters. So that gets around our indestructible effects, although they're probably still going to be useful against the removal opponent is going to be packing. If opponent's creatures kill our creatures, or if they use spells that deal -X/-X, which actually might be more than what they're playing than most other removal spells, so our indestructible doesn't help there, then they also draw cards if our creatures die with toughness less than 1. So this could be a difficult matchup. Selfless Savior is an early play, and it could be useful. And we do have Flowering of the White Tree. No ramp, although we don't have that much ramp. And then we have 2 powerful 4-drops. Opponent is on the play, so that will make things a little more difficult. We'll see how we do. We'll try it. Brawl. Vanquisher's Banner. Once we get to 5 mana, that will be good to give us some card advantage, which we'll probably need in this matchup. Opponent doesn't have any turn 2 play or turn 1 play. I think what we do is play Minas Tirith this turn, get Strelv out, and then we can activate Minas Tirith if they don't present a blocker next turn. And draw a card, and I think that would be very useful. Opponent plays Black Market Connections. We don't have much removal for enchantments and artifacts. Ambitious Farmhand. I think we draw a card off Minas Tirith while we still can. Youthful Knight. Alright, so I want to hit a land. So I can play Flowering of the White Tree and Ambitious Farmhand. You'll also play Warren Warleader. Alright, opponent makes a blocker. And they play Massacre Girl, so we don't have any attacks here. Don't have removal for Massacre Girl. We don't have much removal in this deck. We're kind of counting on our Anthem effects to help us go big. Alright. Get a Plains. Now, Ayara is a problem because that means they'll gain life when they play black creatures. Because otherwise, their black market connections could gradually kill them. No blocks. I don't think opponent can blow us out with removal if we try and double block Massacre Girl here. Valiant Knight. Alright, Vanquisher's Banner doesn't pump any of our creatures currently, because I'm naming Knight with it. I think we play Vanquisher's Banner, hold up Skrelv, I guess? No attacks. Unfortunately, there's no card in white that give haste that I can think of off the top of my head, because that would certainly be useful. The opponent plays another blocker. They don't draw a card. I would have drawn a card in their position. I think they're still in good enough shape that they can do that. Now that could be a problem. I'm a bit surprised the opponent didn't attack. Once again, I wasn't going to block. Alright. Don't have attacks because of Massacre Girl and Archfiend of Ifnir. If they can enable the Archfiend of Ifnir consistently, then I think we're in trouble. Light of the New Coalition, that's a pretty good draw. We could go wide here. Maybe we play Warren, War Leader this turn to use our mana efficiently, and Syr Alin next turn, and that enables some attacks. Actually, we probably want to offspring the Warren, War Leader. So let's go wide with Knight of the New Coalition. Alright, Heraldic Banner, that's useful. Thanks to Vanquisher's Banner and Flowering of the White Tree, our knights are a little more resilient to -X, -X spells. Alright, what to discard? Well, this enables Archfiend of Ifnir. Alright. These guys are all toast anyway because of Rankle's prank. Oh, I think we're losing this one. I think I would have preferred to have drawn a land. So opponent is definitely able to enable Archfiend of Ifnir, unfortunately. Uh-oh. So I have to sacrifice a creature at the beginning of my upkeep, and at the beginning of opponent's upkeep, they get their Carnifex demon back. And they get it back for free, so they can basically use its ability to, well, that would mean having to destroy their Archfiend and Massacre Girl. I don't think I have the mana to play In the Trenches and activate it to get rid of Sholdred. Children can block a creature, but I think we're pretty much priced into attacking here. Opponent should trade. Opponent replays Massacre Girl. All right. Well, we're dead to opponent's flyers. So I have to exile Carnifex Demon just to survive. Opponent can get back Ayara. Even if I exile Carnifex Demon, Erebos is still a creature. Well, my Warren War Leader is dead on my turn anyway. Yep, opponent can block with their Indestructible God. Also, it kills my creature, so we're dead here. Like I said, this was going to be a tough matchup. Opponent's still playing it safe, even though I was dead to rights. Alright. Sure. On we go. Alright. Glarb, Calamity's Augur. Glarb is a new commander from Bloomborough. Strong commander, in my estimation. I play Glarb in another deck of mine. I don't have a Glarb deck just yet. We'll get there. Anyway, I think this is a keepable hand. We've got Pearl Medallion to discount our white spells, which means that 3 of our 4 other spells will cost 1 mana. So I think that's our turn 2 play. And then if we draw another land for turn 3, we can play Adeline and a 2-drop, because it'll be 3 mana total. So I think we can keep this. We probably need ramp against a green deck. We draw a land, that's useful. Opponent plays a tap land turn 1. Alright, Shaper's Sanctuary is fine. Alright, so I can play 3 2-drops next turn. If opponent doesn't remove my medallion, that is, which they could certainly do in black. Alright, let's see what opponent's working with here. Any land lets them play Counterspell. They've got Cut Down. They don't have mana for Sholdred, although any land lets them play that, and I think Sholdred is the biggest problem for us, so I think we exile Sholdred here. Adeline dies to cut down right now, so I think we play our other two creatures. If opponent wants to cut one of them down, I think that's fine. If opponent doesn't kill one of them, I think we play the Circle of Loyalty. Alright, opponent plays Glarb. They still have 1 mana available. 3 Tree City taps for colorless right now. Looks like they play Cut Down. Alright, drawing a land, that's pretty useful. We don't have attacks. Syr Alin has to be attacking in order for us to get the buff. Benalish Honor Guard gets +1/+0 for each legendary creature we control, so it'll be a 4/2 once we get Adeline down. Opponent plays Path of Discovery off the top of their deck because of Glarb, and they play a land off the top of their deck, also because of Glarb. Darkboar Pathway on black, 1 unknown card in hand. They can play Shouldered next turn. Alright, so this is good. They can't play Counterspell. So we can play Adeline and the Circle of Loyalty and hold up Dawn's Truce. Alright, opponent has something they can do at instant speed. Could just be Glarb's ability to surveil. Yeah, I think we want the triggers in this order, so that buffs the 1/1, although alright. So they have to double block to kill Benalish Honor Guard. They could kill Syr Alin if they double block. If they double block Benalish Honor Guard, they lose both their creatures. If they don't block, or if they only block 1 creature, then we flip Invasion. Alright. So now we have Dawn's Truce up and Light Shield Array. Opponent activates Glarb. So they'll have 2 Devotion for Erebos. Opponent's looking at my enchantments and artifacts. Light Shield Array only gives hexproof and indestructible to creatures, not to all permanents. Looking like Casualties of War. Dawn's Truce gives permanents we control hexproof. And I don't need to give them indestructible if I give them hexproof, so... That was a blowout in our favor. Nice to get one of those. I could sacrifice Light Shield Array. Oh, that wouldn't really do any good. Alright, so opponent needs a land. They find a land off the top. It does cost them a life to fetch with. So they have Counterspell. I think they need to play Shouldered. Garrick.
The hunt begins.
Plays blockers.
You were born for the hunt.
We already have 4 lethal attackers to opponent's 3 blockers. We're going to create another lethal attacker with Circle of Loyalty. And Adeline also makes an attacker. So I think we've got this. There we go. Alright. The deck did what it is supposed to do. On we go. Alright. Calyx Guided by Fate. Powerful enchantment commander. You kind of want to be able to remove Calyx on sight, and our deck is short on removal. There's also lots of enchantment removal in white, and fighter bite spells in green, so we might not have creatures stick around. Icon of Ancestry and Benalish Marshal are good as anthem effects to keep our creatures in line with Calyx, who's going to be getting +1/+1 counters. We're on the draw, which is a bit of a tough break. We really prefer to be on the play with this deck. I think we try it. We'll definitely need to draw some lands, because we only have one early play, the Venerable Knight. Alright, we do draw a land, that's helpful. opponent, we even have a turn 2 play. So that was great. And it's an Anthem effect. Uh-oh. Satyr Enchanter. Oh yes, that's the other thing, is there are lots of Enchantress cards in green-white. Or at least 3. There's the Enchantress's Circle, which is an enchantment. There's the legendary Sithis Harvest Hand, which draws cards and gains you life when you cast an enchantment. And there's Satyr Enchanter. So at least 3, and of course the opponent has Satyr Enchanter. Let's play Icon of Ancestry. We can attack past the Satyr Enchanter. I think we're going to be counting on our Anthem effects. Yeah, and there is some of the aforementioned white enchantment removal. Alright, Heraldic Banner. Essene Wanderer is a great value play when you're casting enchantments. So opponent, unfortunately, has got the tools to grind. And they have Glorious Sunrise gaining them life. Not drawing a land was pretty bad here. And we whiff with Acclaimed Contender, and we send 4 lands, some of which we needed pretty badly, to the bottom. Unfortunately, with opponent getting their value engines going, I'm not liking our chances here. And of course they had removal, because why wouldn't they? Because they're drawing a ton of cards. No land. If Calyx hits us, which Calyx can do, I would have needed to have played a blocker for Calyx. Calyx can copy Glorious Sunrise. At least he doesn't have another target for Cooped Up. I'm sure opponent just has removal if I played another creature. So I will say this is one weakness of our deck, is the lack of value plays compared to some opposing decks. Opponent is busy storming off. We've also been missing our land drops, which has been pretty bad. Opponent has drawn... Oh, I think that's the first time they've missed with Nessian Wanderer. So they, on average, every time they've played an enchantment, they've drawn 2 cards. One off Satyr Enchanter, and a land off Nessian Wanderer. Still no lands. Well, that's it. We'll let the opponent finish this off. It will be nice. It's a little annoying that they're not just going to combat and killing us, instead they are doing all of the things. But, oh well. So missing our land drops was definitely pretty key in us not having a chance. But I think when opponent resolved Satyr Enchanter and Nessian Wanderer, that pretty much sealed the deal. Oh well, we do hit something off Icon, so there we go. Alright. So yes, as you can see, a weakness of at least the way I've built this deck, maybe we should have more value grindy tools in it, although we do have some. We just didn't draw them, and we didn't draw the lands we needed anyway. But value matchups we have a hard time facing, especially if they can get more card draw than we do. Anyway, on we go. Alright, Toralf, God of Fury. This could be a difficult matchup because opponent's probably playing a lot of cheap red burn spells. We've got Werefox, Bodyguard, and Cavalier of Dawn as removal. And Cavalier of Dawn is useful because it's big. We also have Vanquisher's Banner for card draw. And 3 lands. Wouldn't mind some earlier plays. Another land is a useful draw. Alright. Pithkin, Billy Rider probably gets blown up if I play it, so I think we hold on to Werefox Bodyguard to flash it in end of turn to at least disrupt opponent. Although they play Glittering Stockpile. That taps red, so they can still have removal for Werefox Bodyguard. Alright, I'm kind of flooding here. Vanquisher's Banner will help. The extra card draw will help. Not getting on the board early is kind of annoying. Red could have artifact removal, so we could see Vanquisher's Banner get removed if we play it. I think that's our turn 5 play still, since then we start drawing cards off of playing our knights. Brash Taunter. Okay, well, not sure what that was all about, but I'll take it. Taste of the Ghost Council should probably be in the Hell queue. She's an overpowered alchemy commander, but I think with In the Trenches and Rally the Ranks, we might be able to get our creatures big enough to push damage. And we are going a bit wide with our Gibeon Cavalier, so I think we keep this. We'll play Rally the Ranks on 2. I think our Gibeon Cavalier on 3. Alright, would have preferred to have hit a land. We'll play In the Trenches on 4 if we don't draw land. Otherwise, I think it's Champions of Tyr. Opponent playing Grave Expectations. So they heist our library. That means they get to look at 3 non-land spells and steal one. We draw land, that's excellent. Opponent hits Valiant Batrider. Drawing another land is actually good. That means we can play our commander. We'll enlist the token. It can't attack into the Batrider anyway, and that boosts the Cavalier's power. So our next creature enters with either a +1/+1 counter, flying counter, or lifelink counter on it. Which, to be mana efficient, will probably be Syr Alin. Here's Teysa. Could play In the Trenches and Toll Keeper. But I think I want Syr Alin to get the benefit of the boon here. Flying, probably less useful because they'll keep making flying blockers with Teysa. Lifelink. I think it's lifelink. We'll want the lifelink to keep up with the big spirits attacking me from Teysa. And Syr Alin's going to be plenty big with the Rally the Ranks and In the Trenches. Alright, and we double team another Champions of Tyr in hand. Opponent takes it. Pearl Collector. Drawing a land, that's actually pretty good here. Oh, the opponent has seen enough. Alright, I guess they figured they were going to just fall too far behind with all of my big threats. I think to be mana efficient, I play Valiant Knight and Borskir Tollkeeper. Valiant Knight boosting all of my other knights. Means I can attack in with Champions of Tyr because it'll be a 6/5. So they'll have to chump block. 7/6 actually with Syr Alin attacking. So we were in pretty good shape. So if we can get off to a quick enough start and have some Anthem effects in play, we can usually get the job done. So that was our Syr Alin deck. Syr Alin, because he doesn't impact the board immediately upon entering, he's not one of the most powerful commanders, but he's decent, and if you like aggressive creature strategies, then he's a pretty good commander for that. This deck, like I said, if it gets off to a fast start and gets an Anthem effect or two down, then it can usually win the game pushing damage past opponents' blockers. But we do have some trouble against more value-oriented decks, as we saw. Still a lot of fun, and because it's monocolored, its mana base makes it relatively budget-friendly, so it's a good choice to start out with. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. If you thought I should have made any plays differently, do say so in the comments, or also mention in the comments if there is a particular commander, either from Throne or from Throne of Eldraine, I should say, or from another set that you'd like to see next, and we'll cook that up. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care, and goodbye.